Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, has urged a boycott of the game commerce platform Xsolla due to its connections with Russia. Now, Xsolla is a payment service provider utilized by major gaming companies like Epic Games, Steam, Ubisoft, Roblox, and Nexon. Despite Xsolla's claim to help partners monetize and expand their games globally, Fedorov has called on Xsolla's prominent partners to sever their ties with the company due to their continued business operations in Russia. Now, Fedorov's open letter to Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney highlights the discrepancy between Xsolla's public announcement of the liquidation of its Russian subsidiary and the actual ongoing operations in Russia. According to Fedorov, Xsolla's office in Perm, which is a city in Russia, and this is the only office in Russia that Xsolla has. They do have offices in many countries, but this is the only one in Russia. According to Fedorov, Xsolla's office in Russia continues to function, employing more than 200 people and paying taxes that potentially contribute to financing the Russian military's activities in the Ukraine. Fedorov also alleges that Xsolla has obtained a special status of economic importance to the Russian government, which could protect its Russian employees from being drafted. In response, Fedorov calls on companies like Epic Games to consider suspending their business operations with Xsolla until the company provides a statement clarifying its activity in the Russian market, emphasizing that customers' payments may be indirectly supporting the Russian military's actions in the Ukraine. Now, Xsolla has acknowledged its office in Russia, but claims that the decision to close its Russian holding company did not signify an exit from the region. Xsolla's CEO, or I guess one of their CEOs, named Chris Hewish, he stated that they have relocated about 200 employees away from Russia ever since the conflict began, therefore reducing their presence in the country. And Chris Hewish, he also emphasized that the company's tax contributions in Russia are subject to the government's decisions on how to allocate those funds. In other words, yeah, they could be used, in the war on Ukraine, but they could also be used to build bridges, provide for people, stuff like that. That's just his argument. As of right now, Xsolla plans to continue facilitating transactions in Russia if its clients choose to serve players in that region. And Chris Hewish confirms that all of their partners are aware of Xsolla's remaining Russian operations. This is one of many ties that I have seen being severed, or at least attempted to being severed, with the Russian economy ever since the war started about, 2 years ago now? It is crazy to think, but yeah, even stuff like games, video games, online gaming communities, all of that creates a market in and of itself, and of course that can affect the country that gaming studios work out of. So there have been big efforts, big pushes to kind of sever ties with all things Russia, even regarding video games. Like even just flat out live gaming services have been banned in a lot of cases in Russia. Now, the biggest game I think that is still going on, by the way, in Russia is CSGO. I think there's a huge Russian following there. I think even CSGO has kind of been pushed, and not pushed, I guess, but has had some call upon them to just completely sever Russian ties altogether, right? So make it so that people who live in Russia can't play their game. My point being, there's definitely just a big push overall ever since the war in Ukraine started to sever ties with Russia, and video games, as interesting as it is, are no exception. We will have to see what happens with Xsolla. Like I said, they are the payment firm for a lot of very big companies. Epic Games, Steam, those are very, very big companies. From a player community standpoint, I really don't think there's going to be a huge backlash here, a huge boycott. But as far as if these specific game studios decide to drop Xsolla, that is what we will have to wait and see.